Shalom, shalom, Israel, brother Amos with the Watchman for Israel. First and foremost, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, to the brothers pushing this truth and strong sincerity, laboring on the highways and byways, making their body a living sacrifice, doing all they can for the nation of Israel and the hopeful elect. I want to give y'all a strong shalom to the sisters holding it down in the household, reverencing their husbands, taking care of the children, being a teacher of good things to the younger women. I want to give y'all a strong shalom as well. And to the young men and women coming out of the world, forsaking the ways of this world and coming back to serving our God, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. I want to compel you to search the scriptures more, be as the church of Berea. Continue to search diligently, find the right doctrine. That's very key. Make sure you're following teachers who are after the Most High's heart and not men who are after filthy lucre, right? Try the spirit by the spirit. But, so we're going to start off with this. Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 1. Let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Right? So the topic of this cold cut goes into entertaining strangers and treating Israel how they supposed to be treated. Right? We're not in the business of being jerks and assholes to people. Right? We're in the business of showing brotherly and sisterly love to our people. Right? That's what the commandments are for. The commandments are to build, all the commandments are spiritual, but they're to build the nation up stronger and show brotherly love. Right? Let's go to Mark chapter 12 and verse 31. Right? This is really what the commandments is for right here. So, like, my social media is jumping right now. Please bear with me. This is Mark chapter 12 and verse 30. I'm going to start at verse 29. And Yahweh shall answer them, the first of all the commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Right? And we know this. The Lord our God is one Lord. Right? Let's precept that real quick. And we're going to come back to it. Right? This is Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. Right? So Yahweh Shah is quoting Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 4. Now let's go back to Mark chapter 12 and 30. All right, you gotta realize that everything Yahweh Shah is saying, he's referencing the Old Testament, right? Verse 30, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. For this is the first commandment, and the second is like, namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other commandment greater than these. Right? You have to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Right? You wouldn't shoot yourself. Right? You wouldn't rob yourself, stab yourself. Right? Inflict harm on yourself. You have to treat your neighbor in the same like manner. Right? That's how you show that you love the Lord. That's how you show that you love Israel. It's how you reverence the God of Israel, the almighty power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, how you reverence your brother and your sister in this truth. Right? Because when you look at your brother, you should see Yahweh Shai. You should see the Most High. And when you look at that sister, you should see Judith. Right? You should see Sarah. You should see Rebecca. You should see all the righteous foremothers. That's how we have to walk in this truth. Right? Let's go to Romans chapter 12. We're going to go to verse 9. Right? Romans chapter 12 and verse 9. It says, let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil, cleave to that which is good. Right? Let your love be pure. Let your love not be with what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word that I want. I'm going on the blank. But when you show somebody love expecting a favor, right? With deceit, let your love not be with deceit or being conniving, right? Be kindly affectionate to one another with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another, right? When you meet a brother, you got to be extremely kind and affectionate. You don't got to give the brother all the money in your pocket, right? Pay his phone bill. You just show him brotherly love. Show him it's an honor. Show him it's an honor that it's an honor to meet you, to be around like-minded brothers, right? And improve that friend. Not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. Right? Don't walk up to a brother and be like, I'm going to salute that brother later. When you see a brother that you don't know, man, go over there and salute him. Right? That's business. Showing brotherly love is business. Right? Fervent in spirit. That you gotta be fervent to show brotherly love. Right? Everything must be done in charity. Right? I think that's 1 Corinthians 6. Let me see. I think it's 1 Corinthians 16 and 14, I believe. Come. It says, let all your things be done with charity. Right? So you gotta be charitable. Showing brotherly love is charitable. Right? Running over there to meet that brother and to introduce yourself to that brother and to show that brotherly love, that's charity. Right? Back to Romans 12 and 12. Rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer. Distributing the necessity of saints given to the hospitality. So when you meet somebody, you should be hospitable. Hey, what's up, brother? You want something to drink? You hungry? How your wife doing? Your kids okay? I got some water. I got some juice. You know, you got to be hospitable when you meet somebody, right? Right? Don't be overly trying to win somebody over, but show brotherly love, right? If you come around me, I want to make sure you're as comfortable as you can be, because that's my duty as a man of Israel, to show brotherly love, right? To walk in the same ways as our righteous forefathers, right? Let's go to we can go to the law. Let's go to the law. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 19, and we're going to start at 13. Right? Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 13. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning. Right? So you can't defraud your neighbor, right? Neither rob him. Right? So you can't defraud your neighbor. When he comes up and you know you got something and your neighbor's in need, help him out. Same thing with the stranger. Right? If you come across somebody who's homeless and they need some water, you got an extra water, just give it over. The Lord will recompense that to you. He'll give it to you 3 times more. Right? Don't be stingy. Don't defraud your neighbor. Give it to him. And then that's going into business, where if you have a brother who's working for you, cutting your grass, don't be like, look, I'm going to pay you the next night. Or I'm going to pay you when I get paid. Or I'm going to see you when I see you, nigga. No. Have the wages ready to give that man for the work that he has done. Thou shalt not cause the deaf, nor put a stumbling... Oh, Salaki. Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shall fear thy God, I am the Lord. Right? So you can't be pretty much going on taking advantage of the weak. Right? Causing the weak and feeble to fall, because the Lord is going to put that back on your head. Right? You shouldn't put a chair in front of somebody who's blind. Like somebody who's a babe in this truth, you shouldn't try to seduce them and try to give them false doctrine. Right? Somebody who doesn't understand, you shouldn't try to give them meat to bug them out. That's a wicked ass thing to do. Right? Verse 15. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the might. But in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor. Right? So when it comes to dealing with righteous judgment, you got to use righteous judgment. Right? Don't be a respecter of persons. Yo, I known this brother for 25 years. I gotta vouch for him. If he's in the wrong, he's in the wrong. If the man who has no place of lodge or no dwelling place is in the right, you have to agree and give the judgment to the man who has no dwelling place. Right? We can't be biased. We can't show favor. We can't be taking bribes. That's wicked. The striking of the hands. That's off. Right? Now let's go to Galatians chapter 5. Right? Let's go to Galatians chapter 5. And I want to start at verse 14. Right? For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even in this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Right? So that's how the whole law is summed up. I wouldn't want anybody committing adultery with my wife, so I wouldn't commit adultery with anybody else's wife. I wouldn't want nobody to murder me, so I'm not going to murder anybody else. I don't want anybody defrauding me of wages, so I'm not going to defraud anybody of their wages. So on and so forth. That's how the law is fulfilled. Right? You treat your neighbor as yourself. That goes into entertaining strangers. Right? Just think about it. If you treated an angel like garbage, he went back and reported it to the Most High. How you think the Most High going to deal with you? That's how you got to be mindful of how you speak to people. You got to be mindful how you treat your brothers. You got to have a good name in Israel. You can't be walking around being a jerk all the time, having preeminence, wanting to seek a high seat, right? Speaking loosely and crazy out the side of your neck. You can't do these things, right? Let's go to 1 John chapter 3. I want to say it's 11. Yeah, we'll start at 11. 1 John chapter 3 and 11. For this is the message that ye heard from the beginning, that we should love one another, not as Cain, who was of that wicked one and slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous. Right? Don't be as Cain. Right? Because you can't fulfill the law. You can't live up to the mark of being a righteous Israelite. Don't slay your brother or cast him to have a bad name. Right? You work harder. Right? You labor more. Let's jump down to verse 18. I'll start at 17. Verse 17. Or 16. I'll start at 16. Hereby perceive we the love of God, because he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. Right? It's speaking of Yahushua laying down his life for Israel. We ought to lay down our life for Israel as well. Right? It's only right. We got to walk in the example of Yahushua. Right? He's that perfect example that all men should try to strive to be as such. Right? But whosoever have this world's good, and see if his brother have need, and shut up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in you? So if you got riches and you got money and you well off and you can help out those in need and you don't, right? Do you really love God, or do you love money? Is money your God right now? And that's a very sincere question. Is money your God? Because if money's not your God, you would cast what you have to those who need it. Not saying go flat broke, but you have the means to help and still be well off. You should be helping those who need help. Right? My little children, let us love in word, not in word. Slack. My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. Right? So you have to love in deed and in truth, not just the word. I can't tell my wife I love her, but I'm beating her. I don't take care of her. I'm out late at night. I don't care what happens to her. I can't tell my children I love them if I'm kicking them and smacking them and not feeding them, letting them walk around not showering for 5-10 days. I can't say that I love them. Right? That's asinine. But my deeds to show that I love my family. Likewise, my deeds to show that I love my brother. And that's how you got to think. Brother, do I love you? Do my actions show that I love you? Are my actions worthy to show that I love my brother? That's the question. Right? Let's go to an example of what love truly is. Right? Let's go to Luke. Let's go to this parable right here, man. Luke 10, and we're going to start at verse 25. The Good Samaritan. Everybody knows this story, the Good Samaritan. This is a beautiful story right here. And behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tempted him, saying, Master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? And he said unto him, What is written in the law? How readest thou? And he answered, saying, Thou shalt love thy God, the Lord thy God, with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy strength, with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself. Right? So he's telling him, this is how you get the kingdom. Love the Lord, do as he says, keep the faith, and show brotherly love. Right, to sum it up. And he said unto him, Thou hast answered right, this do, and thou shalt live. But he, willing to justify himself, said unto Yahushua, And who is my neighbor? Yahushua answering said, A certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment and wounded him and departed, leaving him half dead. Right? So the lawyer is like, well, who's my neighbor then? Who am I supposed to do good to? Right? And so the man coming down, the man still coming down from Jerusalem to Jericho got robbed, got taken of all his goods, and he was half dead. And by chance, there came down a certain priest that way, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. So you had the priest who set up, who's supposed to know the law and do the sacrifice, saw this man laying down and went the other way to avoid helping him. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion on him, and went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, and set him at his own beast, and brought him to the inn, and took care of him. And on the morrow, when he departed, he took out 2 pence and gave to the host and said unto him, take care of him, and whatsoever thou spendest more, when I come again, I will repay thee. Which now of these 3 thinkest thou was neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves? And he said, he that showed mercy on him. Then Yahushua said unto him, go do thou likewise. Right? So don't be like these high-minded people. Don't be like these people, right? And that's a easy breakdown, but we're trying to keep it on the level of showing brotherly love to those you don't know, right? So you're supposed to do unto those as you want those to do unto you. That's your neighbor, right? If I see you half dead, if I see you beat down, you wounded, you bleeding, you half dead, right? I want somebody to take care of me in the same estate. I'm gonna do the same thing, right? And it's not hard to do. It's not hard to take care of somebody. You can't sacrifice 2 hours to make sure somebody's okay. That's what you're supposed to do. That's your neighbor. That's your blood. All Israel is your blood. You should want your blood to be taken care of. Right? Let's go to 1 Peter. Right? 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 8. Right? Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another. Love as brethren, be pitiful, be courteous, not rendering evil for evil, or railing for railing, but counterwise blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that you should inherit a blessing. Right? You got to be one of the same mind, loving Israel. First and foremost, loving Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and having compassion and being pitiful. Because we're all in the lower state. We're in captivity. Right? But don't render evil for evil. If somebody step on your shoe, don't step on his shoe back. Somebody smite you in the face, you want to haul off and smite him again. Right? That's saying if somebody does wickedness to you, man, bless them. Right? Somebody defrauds you, look, hey, it is what it is. You know, may the Lord have mercy on you. It is what it is. Don't render evil for evil. Right? Let's go back to 1 John. Right? And this is showing brotherly love, but this is going on dealing with people that you do not know. You're a stranger, your neighbor, right? Because we be so quick to fight people that we don't know. We be so quick to trip off on people we don't know over a small matter. When we have words, when we have the spirit, right? We're walking in salt, right? So we should be able to diffuse situation, living peaceably among men, right? It can happen. You can do it. And you can show brotherly love to people that you don't know. Right, let's go to 1 John chapter 4 and verse 20. And it reads, verse 19, we love him because he loved us. If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love Yahweh which he have not seen? And this commandment have we from him, that he who loveth Yahweh love his brother also. Right? You have to love your brother to love the Most High. Right? Because you can't forget that Israel is the apple of the Lord's eye. If you hate in the apple of the Lord's eye, the Lord is going to destroy you. Even if you are the apple of the Lord's eye. Right? You got to be mindful. You have to be mindful of that. And I'm going to get one more, and I'm going to close this cold cut out. Well, let's go to Romans chapter 13 and verse 10. And it reads, love... Yeah, I'm going to start at verse 10. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor, therefore love is the fulfilling of the law. Right? Love worketh no ill towards his neighbor, but it's the fulfilling of the law. So to fulfill all the law, you have to have love. Love is very important in this truth. Love is very key to showing that you love Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Showing that you want to be part of the elect. You want to get this kingdom. You want to be righteously saved from Babylon the Great, or wherever your respective captivity is. You have to love your brother. And yes, understandably so, Israel is hard-headed. They're a stiff-necked nation. They sometimes can be walking demons. But you got to use the spirit. You got to use discernment. You got to know how to maneuver in these last days. Right? Wisdom is the stability of the times, man. So you got to be wise in these last days and show brotherly love. Right? And entertain strangers. Right? Show brotherly love to the strangers that come across you. Right? But be circumspect. With that, I'm going to say shalom.